Hi, I'm Christopher Morgan, and today we're going to be talking about the shared services model. Here we have a business. The business exists to make money. It might sell a product, it might perform a service, it might educate students, but it has a main mission. It's users that run the business. Parts of the business are focused not on the main mission, but on supporting the users, and a common one we see is IT. So IT is a service provider that supports the users as they work on the business. HR and facilities are two other very types of common service providers that we see supporting the users to help them run the business. Maybe we have additional service providers, such as a mail service or print services that provides additional services. Or maybe we have many service providers, like environmental services, wellness services, keys and access control, fleet services, event services, and parking services. You can see how we can end up with a lot of different service providers providing many different types of services to the users. It's not easy for the users to navigate and interact with these service providers. Oftentimes, a user needs to know about each individual service provider, needs to understand what particular services each service provider provides, and then form a unique relationship between each service provider. You can see how this can quickly get unwieldy and difficult to manage, and it doesn't provide the best experience for the users. What's the solution? So the answer is to adopt a shared services model. A shared services model makes this request-centric as opposed to fulfillment center-centric. We understand that the user doesn't necessarily need to know each individual service provider, doesn't need a relationship with each, and doesn't need to track his or her requests through each disparate service provider. There's just a central point where the user can go to request all goods and services, and from there, invisible to the user, the requests are fulfilled, and ultimately the service is provided to the user as he or she supports the business. So some key elements and benefits to the shared service model. The first is to provide a user with a menu of the goods and services that he or she can request. This is commonly referred to as a service request catalog. It's important for this to be a single source of engagement. If there's multiple places for the user to go to make requests, it becomes unwieldy again and difficult to navigate. By having one central place to go that serves as the front door for all the service requests, it enhances the user experience and keeps things organized. We're able to do workflow and process capturing in the shared services model because part of the process is to define exactly what workflows and what steps are being taken for each request that might be filled. If we're using an automated process to do this, it's very easy to get reporting out of the model. We can understand how much time service fulfillment takes, how many requests are being placed, and what different types of requests are being requested by our users. This is valuable information for business leadership to have. Notifications are very important in the shared service model. So the user wants to know what's going on with his or her request, and having notifications that are bidirectional that go back and forth keep the user involved and make them feel important as a stakeholder. Customer surveys are another great mechanism to go from the user to the service provider. Users can report their experience with the service that they received, and it serves as a basis for continual improvement for the service provider over time. Balancing and resource planning is very important, and we have insight into this with the shared service model. Because we know exactly what the users are requesting and how much time it takes, we can figure out staffing levels and which service providers might require additional resources in order to fulfill their requests. And we're able to calculate grades on how we're doing and compare ourselves to our peers. This service level management discipline is very important, again, as we continue on in a continual service improvement model. Ultimately, what the shared service model can give us is happy users that support the business, that work towards its main goal of making money. Thank you for your time. I'm Christopher Morgan from Stave.